Hi, everybody. It's Marjorie Ness, and we are going to be talking about the 12 Days of Self-Care Challenge, which starts on Saturday, June 10th. So I had some questions about it that I wanted to address, and I also just want to talk about why it's going to be super fun and how it's going to benefit you. So we'll just wait for a couple moments while everybody gets situated. I always check my phone to make sure that the broadcast is happening, and it is. That's awesome. So we have a lot of new members, so I wanted to say hello and talk about what goes on here in the Simple Healthy Living group, which I started just about 6 months ago, and I'm so pleased that we're up above 200 members, which is great. And if you're a newer member and you want to get notifications about these live broadcasts, or when I post an article, or I post something, or when anybody posts something, you just go hover over the self-care, the title of it, and then it'll say get notifications, and you can choose how often you want to get that through Facebook. And so last November I started this group because although I've been teaching yoga and wellness for over 15 years now, going on 16 years, I'm new to San Diego, where I just moved for a year, about a year ago. I fulfilled a lifelong dream, living somewhere where I can go walk by the ocean every single day, and I do that. That's one of my self-care practices, is that I walk by the ocean every day, sometimes twice a day, depending on the schedule and the time of the year. And it was right after I teach twice a year the Reset and Renew online program, which is a way to be more vibrant and balanced and help you to live better in your body. So I started because I wanted everybody to have a cohesive group, and I came across a quote today which I've heard before that I wanted to share. And this is by an author by the name of Charles Eisenstein, who's actually written books on a vast variety, a vast number of topics. He wrote a book called The Yoga of Eating, which is sort of a great book about the practice of eating, that, mindfully eating, and so much more. And now he writes a lot about community and the economy and the sharing economy, really. So he writes that a community is a group bound by gifts and stories. And so when I started, teaching more online as I moved away, and I'm still cultivating a local community here, but I really wanted to create more community with people all over. People who had the same kind of desires to live better and to maybe not follow the norms of the cycles that we're not paying attention to our bodies and not listening, just kind of pushing to what society wants us to do. So that was sort of the genesis of this group, that are many people that I've known for years that have been coming to my yoga, like Janet, who I think might be on live. And I see that she liked the broadcast. Thank you, Janet. And now I'm connecting with a lot of new people online. So this is how we get to know each other. We are interested in simple, healthy living, and the self-care challenge, the 12 Days of Self-Care Challenge, is leading up to the summer. Hi, Janet. Is leading up to the summer solstice. And I first did this leading up to the winter solstice. And it's a very different time of year. There are these opposing times of year. They're also very potent because it becomes a transition, right? We're in these very, very long days, and it's, the sun is rising at 5:30, depending on where you live, or maybe even earlier if you're somewhere very far north, and it's not setting till after 8 o'clock, sometimes, much later, depending on where you live. So it's a very expansive season, and we can be so busy wanting to pack everything in that we're not putting ourselves first. And then there's this moment in time on the 21st when there's a shift, and there's this potency where then there's a shift, and the very longest, lightest day is followed for the next 6 months by each day getting slightly shorter. So It's celebrated in cultures all around the world, especially in northern hemispheres. This big celebration, summer's eve, summer solstice, it's called different things. And for a lot of people, they push themselves a lot in the summer because they just want to pack it all in. And if you're doing that and you're around a lot of people, you might not be taking the time for yourself. So the gift of the 12 Days of Self-Care Challenge is that you can be accountable to the group. We're looking forward to your gifts and to your stories of the photographs of whatever it is that you're taking, whether it's putting oil on your body or oil on your feet, or taking time to read a book. I talked about this last week. Are you somebody like me who just loves to read, and this is really something I'm making time for now, and it's making me so happy, like doing these things for yourself. Maybe that's going to sleep when you feel tired rather than finishing up around the house so everything's perfect, because the gift of self-care might be for you having more sleep. Maybe it's going to a movie by yourself if you're a very busy person, or you're taking care of a lot of people and you're like, you know what, I really want to see this movie. Maybe it's Wonder Woman. I haven't seen it yet, but a lot of people are talking about it. I'm going to go to the movies for a couple of hours. Maybe it's picking yourself some fresh flowers, or buying some fresh flowers. Maybe you want to really treat yourself and have a massage or a facial. There are so many ways to take care of yourself, but during this time, during these 12 days, putting it in your calendar and recognizing that every day that you really are going to be doing something for yourself. So we've got a bunch of people live on the line. I'm not sure who it is unless you write in the comments. So I'd love to see where you're writing in from. I'm so happy that you guys are live. Janet is here. Mandy's here, from local in San Diego. Janet's in New York. You guys can say hi to each other. You were both in the Reset and Renew program, and it's so fun when we get to see each other online. And Martha's here from Pennsylvania, also another Reset and Renew veteran. If you guys took part, whether it was actively or just on your own, in the 12 Days of Self-Care, can you write in what you experienced? That would be really helpful for people. And I took into account the privacy, so that's why we're doing it within the group. If anybody wants to share it outside the group that they're doing, if they want to do it with friends, they can. But it is going to be private in the group, so only members of the group will see your posts. And again, it's a way of putting it in your calendar and being accountable. I've heard from people that were have been on retreat with me, for example, and they've come back and they're like so busy traveling, and they're like, oh, I totally stopped meditating. I haven't been to a yoga class in 3 weeks. And it's like, okay, get out your calendar, get out your phone. I like to do the all day banner so that it shows me like, this is what's happening these 12 days, so that I remember when I look at my calendar, okay, this is what I want to do. And maybe you'll get fancy and schedule, a couple of treatments in there, or at least putting an alarm on your phone so that you're doing some foot massage, or you're doing some oil massage, or even something as going to bed earlier. And that's what I mentioned. So I'd love to hear about your ideas. I know for me, sleep is something that I go through different phases in my life about how sleep is. And like last night, the night before last, I didn't have a good night's sleep. And so last night I shut off the TV and I got my book and I took a bath probably for like a half an hour. And I got into bed, and it was a little earlier than usual. It was before 9, and I had the best night's sleep, and it changed everything. Like, I just had such a better day today than I did yesterday. So that's self-care. It's like, how can we put ourselves first? If I had stayed on the computer later and done more work or whatever, then that doesn't happen. And I know, everybody has a different home situation, but again, when you're putting yourself first, everybody around you is going to benefit. Everybody around you is going to benefit. In all my years of teaching yoga, I've heard from so many people that they said that they would say to their partner, no, go to yoga. Please go to yoga. If the person was like, oh, we have so much to do, we have to get ready, and they would be like, go to yoga, because they know how much better their partner would feel. Or even their mother would feel if she would go and everybody's going to be okay, if they don't have our attention for a while. And we like that attention. We want to feel that way. I remember it wasn't really that long ago, but it was when I was still living in New York. It was something, super simple, like to change the water filter at my parents'. And I have elderly parents, a lot of you know. And my dad asked if I could change it. So usually it takes 5 minutes, and I was on my way to a yoga workshop. And there was a problem. There was a problem with how it fit, and everything got complicated, and it wasn't working, and it got stuck, and I didn't have the right tools. And instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to come back and do this later, I didn't go to the workshop. Can you imagine? And it was a special workshop that I had been looking forward to. And I just got so into this, and I was so frustrated, I just wanted to fix it. And it was such the wrong choice, because not only did I not benefit, but I was annoyed at, having been asked to do it right before I was about to leave. My parents didn't benefit because I was in a bad mood. I wasn't spending any extra good time with them. Do you know what I mean? So these are the things I'm talking about, where we're putting ourselves first. So maybe that would have meant I didn't start it in the first place. I was like, no, let me do it when I come back from the workshop. So we all make these mistakes, and we all have these responsibilities with other people. So Mandy writes that she was stressed one night and meditated before she went to bed, and slept great. Isn't that amazing? Like something super simple like that, whether it's a bath or meditation. And the meditation is so powerful, and it doesn't have to be a long time. A lot of people really like to meditate before bed because it allows them to just settle in and let go of the thoughts that might be racing and kind of just put them aside. So I love that, Mandy. I'm so glad. And if you're not a good sleeper, and have issues with sleep on and off like I do, when you find something that works, it's so exciting, and life is different when you're having good sleep. It's really pretty amazing. So maybe your 12 days of self-care is that you mark that in your calendar, that in addition to whatever, that those are 12 days where you are doing the meditation before you go to sleep and putting it in your calendar. So I love that. Anything else, you guys, I'd love to hear. And for those of you that are local in San Diego that are watching, before I leave for New York, Martha writes, actually I'll come back to my schedule in a moment. Martha writes she really prefers meditation at bedtime too. I think it doesn't have to be either or, and again, everybody's very different, but it can just be a real way of centering yourself, having gratitude for the day that you've had, and then letting the day go, because so often we're kind of repeating the day's events or projecting into what lies ahead tomorrow. So, sleep is so important. Our body is, and I have a couple of really good articles that I'll post in the thread below, but our sleep serves a purpose, and that it scrubs our brain. It's like a detox for our brain, and when we don't get good sleep, it just, everything gets all clogged up like that. So I'm teaching a couple of extra classes the next week or so. I'm teaching, in my addition to my regular Sunday at 4:30 at Yoga Del Mar, I'm also teaching at 10:45 on Tuesday, and that has live sitar music. It was beautiful. I taught it this week too. Live sitar music, and the sitar is it's kind of guitar-like, but it's much bigger, and it's used in traditional Indian music. I don't know more about the history. I don't know. I have to look that up. And then on Friday at 7:45 a.m. So that's a week from tomorrow, not tomorrow, and that's the 16th of June. Martha writes, she's been into loving kindness meditation. I was just listening to Sharon Salzberg, who was one of the first people 30 years ago to bring meditation to the West in a way. She has an Insight Meditation Society. She's one of the founders in Barre, Massachusetts, and she has a new book, which I haven't read, but I heard her on the 10% Happier app, which is a great podcast. She has a podcast. There's a podcast and an app, as well as the book 10% Happier, which is meditation for skeptics, and Dan Harris, who is on that. He's just super real about it and skeptical about the benefits of meditation, but he interviews some of the great teachers. So loving kindness meditation can be a beautiful way to end your day and think about everyone else in the world around you. So again, that's the community, the thinking about the community and how we all impact one another. Janet writes, I'm pretty good about making time for self-care, but during 12 days, I make an extra effort to do some special things for myself. I have a Tui Na massage scheduled for tomorrow. I don't know what that is, so please tell us. At this time of year, I have a little vegetable garden plot on our roof deck, and I love spending time there early in the morning, having my tea and feeling tremendous gratitude for my little slice of green in the city, because Janet's in New York City. I'll make a point of journaling more during this time and generally try to be introspective. So beautiful, Janet. Yeah, when we have a container of this time, and especially using the marker of the solstice, of leading up to it, and just, it only happens twice a year, right? And the summer solstice only happens once a year. So really acknowledging these rhythms that we're in and savoring this extra light and this extra time outside in the evening, or the light in the early morning. So beautiful. And knowing again that this time for yourself, it's not taking away from anybody else. We kind of want to flip it. We want to flip that to saying it's actually going to give more to others. And on the 10% Happier podcast, when Dan Harris was interviewing Sharon Salzberg, they were talking about putting on your own oxygen mask first, as the cliche that it is. And because that's what they say on the plane. And she was sitting on a plane, or I forget who was talking about it, but someone said, oh, I could never do that. I could never put on my own oxygen mask before I put someone else's on. So realizing there is this resistance, even when you've been instructed about the breathing on an airplane where there might not be enough oxygen, that people are resistant. So we know that this is resistance. So in this container of our beautiful group, you are going to be held and you are going to be supported, and you'll find ideas. So if you're new to this, just start with super simple things on Saturday. You've had the ideas about the journaling, about the flowers, about taking a walk outside. And we will be here, and I'll be posting every day. I'll be posting pictures. You can also post on Instagram. You can just take a picture of something, or you can just write what you've done. Really super keep it simple. I don't want you taking a lot of extra time, or this feeling like one more thing that you have to do. Is posting about it, but it's really about cultivating this community here. So Tui Na is similar to Shiatsu. I think it's Taiwanese. I have never heard of that, Janet. Thanks for filling us in. All right, so 12 Days of Self-Care starts June 10th. You can add any of your friends to the group. I have to approve them, but you can put them in the members' names. So if you have a friend that you want to do this with, maybe you want to have a specific accountability buddy in the group, you can also ask for that and just say, hey, I want to be accountable to somebody specific, but know that we're here to support you, and that if you're finding it tough, you're not alone. But it's like anything. It's the practice of cultivating these new habits, and knowing that on the other side of this, you're affecting not only everyone around you, but that ripple effect. When I'm well rested, and I'm talking to people, and you know how you have that person that you just see around, or whether you're walking the dog or somebody you have an interaction with, and whoever they are, they just totally brighten your day because of how they're being. So when you're well rested and when you're taking care of yourself, that's the difference. Even if you wave somebody in, and I can't believe it, here I am giving car analogies instead of subway analogies now that I live here, but I just let somebody go in front of me. What's the extra 30 seconds? When somebody does it for me, it makes a difference. And that's the ripple effect, you guys. So I'm thrilled you're here. It's great to see all of you. And I will see you next week here, Thursdays, every Thursday. And again, I'll be choosing 2 random winners, $60 from Banyan Botanicals, or a half-an-hour session with me. I'll be posting some Facebook Lives, some extra Facebook Lives during that as well. So I will see you guys soon. And have a great evening. Enjoy these long days up into the solstice. And Mandy, I will see you on Sunday. That sounds great. Okay, bye everybody. Thank you.